Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, the founder and CEO of Tier 11, not alongside my amazing co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo. She is traveling yet again. The last time we will be traveling before we will actually be back together to do these shows on a regular basis. I do agree. A lot of the comments that we've gotten is it's better with the two of us. Today actually is just me. And we're going to be going through a case study, which we're really excited about. And it is in the beauty and wellness space. It's an online business. And it's a client that's been with us for many years. We've done a fair number of chalkboard videos on this example of this type of client, not this one specifically, but what we did in a stepwise formula, how to grow their business over the course of just the last year. And they've been with us for quite some time. The big sort of headline in this whole thing is that they increased their total sales year over year by 57%. And they increased their new customers year over year as of today's podcast. This is actually through March of this past year, through the last 12 months, trailing 12 months. They increased their new customers by 73% year over year. If you have been a listener of this podcast any time in the last year or so, we have been talking incessantly about how to acquire new customers. And in this case study here, we're going to talk about how to acquire new customers, but not only how to acquire customers, but get them to buy more when they buy. So there's a video on this. I'm going to leave some links in the show notes here. There's basically 3 ways in which you can grow your business. You can acquire new customers. Number 1, it's the hardest one, especially online. Number 2 is get them to buy more when they buy, increasing your average order value, or NAOV. Is what we call it, new customer acquisition costs, NCAC, AOV, the amount that they buy when they actually do purchase from you, we refer to as NAOV, not RAOV, that's returning customer AOV, or RCAC, or just ACAC, is all customers, including new customers and return customers. The point is if you can crack the code on how to acquire new customers, create new markets for yourself, find people who don't know who you are, have never bought from you before, and then get them to buy more when they buy. And then the third part to that, the holy trinity of all internet marketing, is to get them to buy more often. And that we're not going to talk about that here today, but we're going to talk about the 2 big ways in which to grow your business in the beauty and wellness space. And if you are a beauty brand and you're selling online, this case study here today is going to be transformative for you. And of course, if you need our help, you can always go over to tier11.com/apply. We'd be happy to talk to you about how we might be able to help grow and scale your beauty and wellness business. This is an area we know extremely well. We've been doing this for over 8 years now, and in this space. And that's why today's case study is just the culmination of all that knowledge through the years. And it's primarily through 2 platforms. It's primarily through Meta. We're going to talk about Meta quite a bit here, as well as through Google, secondarily with YouTube. And then all of a sudden, they have actually started to go into TikTok and some of the other social spaces. So I'm going to share my screen here today. I think this is the best way to I'll try and explain it. If you're just like you're walking the dog, you're at the gym, you're getting in your steps, you're doing work around the house, you're washing dishes, whatever it happens to be. I get messages from people that's like, I wash the dishes and load the dishwasher while I listen to you and Lauren. So it's very cool, actually, everyone who listens to this show. We try and bring it every single week here. So I highly encourage you to watch it and actually see this over on our YouTube channel, which is perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube, of course. So let's get right into the screen share here. All right, so this is the Tier 11 beauty industry case study, beauty and wellness. So beauty and wellness is one of the areas that we feel we are particularly well suited for, have gotten great results for dozens and dozens of customers. And this one is one that we continuously reinvent ourselves. Just because you've gotten success over a very long period of time, these guys have been with us for almost since the inception of Tier 11. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get results today. So what you have to constantly do is you have to constantly look at new ways in which to get better results and have those results sort of pile onto each other and compound over time, which is what has really happened here. The interesting part of this is because we can now separate out new customer acquisition cost with new AOV, NCAC and NAOV. It's a game changer. If you have that kind of data, all the algorithms, all the platforms are always going to go after the easiest to purchase potential clients of yours, people who have visited your site, people who have bought from you before. We're not talking about those people today. We're talking about getting new customers. And like I said, the big numbers here are their business increased 57% year over year as of March 2025, with a new customer count of increasing 73%. So some big numbers here. We're going to show you exactly how we did that here, as well as a couple other metrics, which we'll get into here in just a second. So let's talk about the results once again. So here it is. Here's the actual screenshot. This is from inside of Shopify. And a lot of this, just keep in mind today, when we share results, but we are very aware of the fact that a lot of what we show you is confidential. I think the difference between this show and a lot of other shows that you might listen to in the marketing space is that we don't go, you talk about stuff, we're going to actually show it to you. But as a result of that, we have clients that even though we have it in our agreements, we can show their stuff. We just feel it's the right thing to do is to keep it confidential. So a lot of what you might see over on YouTube might be blurred out here, which is fine. The point is we're trying to be as transparent as possible, but also, fulfill the wishes of our clients to maintain confidentiality. So here is the screenshot here. Here's the biggie. You can see orders increased by 28%. Customers overall increased by 25%. This is year over year. Like I said, inside of Shopify, this is the source of truth. This is where everything happens right in here. So like the numbers are as plain as day. You see the purple line on the bottom. That's last year. You see the blue line. That's this year. So that's a 57% increase in revenue in sales, 25 over the last 12 months year to date so far. So pretty good. New returning customers, we see this. This is, like I said, this is year to date, obviously from January to March of this year. We're looking at an increase of 73% in new customers. And this is something that you can go in your back end. You can go back into Shopify and you can actually see all these metrics. You can see it here. You might not be able to see all the individual numbers specifically, but we will show you that there is a 73% increase. These are not photoshopped results here, guys. These are from actual screenshots inside the back end of Shopify. 73% new customer increase year over year. Pretty outstanding results. So there's the proof right there. One of the other things that we do measure is MYRR. And MYRR can be two things. It can be marketing efficiency ratio, or it can be media efficiency ratio. In this case, we use media efficiency ratio. And media efficiency ratio is, in essence, all of your advertising spend divided by, or actually all of your sales in a period, all of your revenue in a period divided by your advertising spend. Some of that advertising spend might also include agency fees. I tend to look at it as marketing efficiency ratio. So I lump in my entire staff for marketing. You can do it any different way that you want to do it. The point is, it's a very good way in which to show increases in the overall effectiveness of your marketing. And so we've got a MYRR increase greater than 5.1% and NMYRR, which was 2.4%. So new customers being acquired, you're spending $1, you're getting $2.40 back. Okay. Your total MYRR, meaning all of your customers, your new and your returning, is a 5.1. And if you can't be making money, at least profit on that, or at least gross profit on a 5.1 MYRR, you might want to check with your finances. The interesting part about this business is that they have proprietary products, but they also sell other manufacturers' products. So there's always sort of a gross profitability question here, something that's more of a business question more than anything else. But the point is that MYRRs like this are very, very efficient, and you can see it right here on the screen and right through the Shopify store. In-app ROAS, not something that we talk about a whole lot because we sort of discount it a bit, but we do use it as a measuring stick. We always say, all right, ROAS sucks. Meta, Google, they're going to manipulate ROAS as much as humanly possible because they're going to lump in new customers with returning customers. I get it. We understand it. we still do use it as a guiding light metric. In-app ROAS, as reported by Meta, was 4.3. So pretty good there, but it's not the thing that we measure. We used to use that as our sole means of measurement. We don't anymore. We really do use MYRR and NMYRR. And once again, MYRR is total revenue divided by all marketing spend. NMYRR is revenue only for new customers divided by the advertising revenue used to get those customers. Okay, so two different metrics here, both of which we use, both of which are part of our Tier 11 MPIs. You can also get it at perpetualtraffic.com MPI/MPI or tier11.com/MPI. If you're not familiar with these terms, we've talked about them many, many, many times here on Perpetual Traffic, and we'll continue to do so because they're the ones that really do drive businesses. It's not necessarily the in-app metrics. All right, so these are past 12 months. You can actually see through March 16th, 2024, March 15th, 2025, they had a 22% increase in NAOV. This is new average order value, and you'll see why in just a second, how this increased. It's like I said, there's three ways to grow your business. Get more customers, get them to buy more. This is NAOV, new customers buying more at the point of sale, point of that original sale, and then also get them to buy more often. This is where email, SMS, retargeting to a certain degree really will get you very, very early wins. So if you can increase your NAOV, you can afford to pay more to acquire a customer. And this is a 12-month chart. All the data that we were talking about before was year over year for the first quarter of this past year. This is an increase over the past 12 months. So you can see through the chart inside Shopify that these are new customers. The NAV is increasing by 22%. So pretty darn good so far. So that's the data. Let's get into the how we actually did it. So one of the things that is proprietary to Tier 11, and you can obviously do this or steal some of it, I think, if you're an internal team or you're a director of marketing, is we call what we do the conversion engine. The conversion engine is four different metrics with a fifth, which I'll get into in just a second, which is creative traffic after the click, all surrounded by data. On this pretty presentation here, you can actually see the data belt moving. So the data it ties all of this together. So your decisions on how to increase in scale is really as a factor of these three big factors: traffic after the click, creative. Creative is the thing that you actually see first. And we're going to look at that here today. It's going to be blurred out here for obvious reasons that I mentioned before. Traffic is paid traffic. It's also earned media. It's also your SEO and your social media marketing. So anything that brings traffic to your site, email, we lump that under traffic. And then, of course, after the click is everything that happens. And that's a huge part of this case study here, is how all these things work together, all driven by data. The one thing that this doesn't have is I look at like the oil that kind of greases the whole machine. I know nothing about cars, by the way, or engines. I was a marketing major in college. And I've never worked on my own car. But the point is I know there's oil in an engine, and an oil makes it all kind of work, all the gears so they don't get stuck. And we look at the oil of the engine of the conversion engine as strategy. And the chief strategist who is on this account is one of the best ones that we have at Tier 11, and thought of all of these strategies and how they all fit together. So if you sort of think about marketing in general terms, the conversion engine is a good proxy, or is a good sort of methodology in which to think about how things work when it comes to growing your business online. If you think about this as a methodology, it makes it a whole lot more sense. So anyway, we call it the conversion engine. So let's get into the first gear. If you noticed in the conversion engine, creative is the biggest gear. And the reason for that is that pulls in a lot of the top of funnel traffic. And you'll see why that's important here in just a second when I go through some of the examples of creative. This is very opposite. This strategy that we're going to talk about here today is not what you would usually hear from some of these platforms. Short form content, Reels, TikTok, obviously stuff on Snapchat. Anything that's short form video content Anything that's under a minute, under 2 minutes, under 90 seconds or so is considered short form content. We did not do that here. We did the exact opposite. And this is one of the strategies I think that's really, really helpful. And it's one of the ones that we use all the time now is long form video content. If you think about this podcast, it is a piece of long form content. And we get a lot of folks, beauty brands in particular, who come to us because they watch these videos and they say, hey, can't you do the same thing for me? It's how you are able to demonstrate your expertise. And you'll see in a minute exactly what I'm talking about here. So top performing videos are long form education videos. We call them teach and pitch, Trojan horse tutorial videos. You'll see in just a second kind of what that looks like. And the key is to rotate in a lot of creative every single month. So I wouldn't say dozens, but new creative, and then really testing it in a very appropriate way, in a very sort of methodical way. And you'll see here in just a second. These guys also do a lot of like what we do on every Friday. We do a Tier 11 live every Friday. So we sort of eat our own dog food in a lot of ways. They do Facebook lives, which is like a live makeup tutorial. Like I said, this is a beauty brand. They sell a basket of products, lots of different SKUs. But the more important part of this strategy is that they don't necessarily sell the products, they sell the transformation. And that, as all of us as marketers, that's really at the end of the day what we're selling. We are selling transformation. They sell a look, they sell a type of appearance. And I'm not going to give away what those things are because they're proprietary to this client, but it is a look. Think about what is the after state that you want your client, your customer to have when they buy your stuff. What is that thing? They're not buying lipstick just to make their lips red. What is making their lips red do for them? Creates confidence, creates self-esteem, makes them feel good, makes them maybe feel more confident while they're going to work, more attractive to the opposite sex, whatever it happens to be. Like that's the transformation that your product does. This client does this extraordinarily well through their socials, and also we leverage that through paid media as well. So think about that. What does your brand, especially if you're a beauty and wellness brand, what kind of transformation does your product create? Not just the product itself. Everybody has a product probably similar to the stuff that you have. How does your product transform your client or your customer into something that they want to be or something that they want to become? And that's what these guys do so well, obviously, with our help. They do that on Facebook Lives. And then we also repurpose a lot of those lives, and then we shorten them up in some cases. But a lot of their content, you'll see here, is like 30 minutes long, 15 minutes, 30 minutes long form video content that people, as Meta says, people sit back or they lean back as opposed to lean in. Lean in is their metaphor for short form content. Lean back is longer form content. So it works extraordinarily well here. So, and then we repurpose all those graphics on Facebook, Instagram, as well as on YouTube. And we're just starting to really use YouTube here, and might be maybe the subject of another case study, part 2, once we have even more results over there. So the vast majority of their ad spend is on Meta, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. You don't necessarily have to start that way. You can start with just, 30, 40, 10,000 or a couple thousand to start. Get it up to a point where it's 30, 40, $50,000. And if you need our help, obviously we can help you there. All right. So the second part of the conversion engine is traffic. As you recall, let's go back to the conversion engine. Okay. Here's our creative. We've got traffic, which is the smaller gear, believe it or not, because that's just sort of the implementation of campaigns. The point is that creative and traffic working together are vitally important. We'll also get into the after the click here in just a moment. So let's get into traffic. So we manage the traffic, obviously. For this brand, we switch off all Advantage plus creative enhancements. We do everything sort of manually. We do it all through the creatives that we work hand in hand with the client on, which I think is super interesting and super important. But we do leverage Advantage Plus shopping campaigns for full funnel targeting because there's a lot that does happen from an NCAC and from an ACAC standpoint. But Advantage Plus shopping is one of the campaign types that we use pretty regularly here. The second part to this is that we also still do separate out level 2 custom audience retargeting. What is level 2 custom audience retargeting? Level 2 is sort of an old term from the e-com ad amplifier days. If you don't know what that is, I'll leave a link in the show notes to make sure that we do put that down. We still do separate out level 2 custom audiences. So level 2 custom audiences are people who have engaged in your brand in one way, shape, or form. Okay, they are custom audiences, people who have actually landed on your landing page but didn't buy. Okay, maybe people that have watched your videos. Okay, this is a great way of getting awareness. Somebody who has watched a certain percentage of your video, you can then grab that custom audience in app, in Meta in this particular case, and then retarget them with a more direct or more sales oriented video, or maybe a more education type video to get them to the next step. Due to the fact that they've watched a portion of your video, they're now warm. They're now aware of who you are. Maybe if you even know in a 10-minute video, hey, the first product appears at, the 2-minute mark. Well, anybody who is a 25% viewer of that video, maybe you retarget that subset of that custom audience with the with the product that's mentioned in the first 25% of the video in the first 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes. Okay. If it's a 10-minute video, there's a lot of different ways to slice this up, but this is a great way of think about how people buy. If they don't know what your brand is, you need some way in which to create awareness and some level of interest. And we do this through video ads extraordinarily well, not just going always for the conversion. We certainly do that. We also do a subset of other campaigns which are really focused on these level 2 custom audiences, if that makes sense. You watch a certain percentage of a video, and then you put another ad in front of them that's more sales oriented, maybe a little bit more education, maybe the next step after what they watched before. You're really naturally taking someone down this customer acquisition path, or it's like the customer journey as it's commonly known. All right, so just for a little clarification, Advantage plus creative enhancements. So we turn that off, and the reason is we do that to maintain full control of how each creative displays across all the different channels. So different placements and different formats. We want full brand control, and this is one of the things that Facebook or Meta Meta will do. When I say Meta, obviously I mean Instagram, I mean Facebook, I mean obviously audience network, but I mean really here we get a lot of engagement on Instagram and obviously on Facebook. That's their primary driver for cold traffic for new customers. So if you have Advantage plus creative enhancements on, it will mix and match. And also some of your creative might not look perfect in the individual format. Think about a Reels versus something that's in the news feed, or something that you see in your Instagram feed versus, what you would see, in a story. So we're very, very intentional about making sure that Meta doesn't have full autonomy on that, to maintain brand consistency, which is very, very important for this client. And that was one of the most important parts here. So that just further clarifies that. We definitely did use Advantage Plus shopping campaigns for all of these, and obviously integrated in a lot of their organic into what we were doing, seeing what works on organic. This is just one of the more underutilized strategies in paid traffic. Look what's working on organic, not necessarily the meme that you put out that gets lots of engagement because it's some kind of motivational quote. Now, if you're in the self-improvement space and that is part of your product offering, that motivational quote, maybe it would be, but you have to really look at what's resonating in organic. And I don't think people do this enough. And when we do account audits, we go through a month-long process in some cases where we really dive deep into business metrics. Oftentimes when we look into the ad accounts, we don't see these social media management hooks and engagement tactics coming over to the paid side. So it's a way for you to sort of be able to, get the cheat code for what works and what resonates with your audience. And then that then allows you to have a greater breadth of creative, which for this client, and especially in beauty and wellness, we found this to be absolutely true. Creative is the thing that drives everything top of funnel. And these guys do an extraordinarily great job at educating and then entertaining and then also placing products in that education and entertainment while simultaneously selling, air quote, selling transformation, not the products themselves. A basket of products is what they will usually use to get a specific look. 5 or 6 different products, some of which are their own, some of which are others. The point is it's a strategy that we found very early on working with this client. We said that is the secret sauce. That's what we call as the Trojan horse tutorial video. And that's one of the best things about this entire client experience, because they produce such great content for us, directed by us through strategy. However, it's used in the right way and then retargeted. And then obviously it creates a full funnel experience using Advantage Plus shopping campaigns. So also YouTube ads is something that we started using back in November of 2024. And we launched it for a new channel, launched it as a new channel for client acquisition. And for right now, it's not a very large spend. So I would say that was a secondary sort of reason why we've experienced this, this 57% increase year over year, and also 73% increase in new customer acquisition. But YouTube, in my sense, is sort of the next evolution. So we're taking what we're learning on one platform on Meta, especially, 30-minute videos, 20-minute videos, 10-minute videos, 15-minute videos, talking about the look. All right, selling the look. I'm not going to say what the look is, but inside that is the Trojan horse, is the individual products. And if you have a large line of products in here, the beauty and wellness space, this is one of the best strategies. I absolutely believe that not only will you acquire new customers, but you will get a higher NAOV. And NAOV is the key. If you can acquire customers by buying in more products or bundling products together, and that allows you and affords you the opportunity to be able to pay more to acquire a customer and beat the competition, especially in the beauty and wellness space. We see this all the time. It's one of the reasons why, in my opinion, we've got the best creative department on the planet, specifically and especially for this space here. Like I said, one of the things that we're doing right now is we're also using a lot of those engagement audiences on YouTube, and then retargeting those people over on the Google side of the equation. Still a little bit of an initial strategy here, not the main strategy, but like I said before, video view campaigns, using those as L2, level 2 targeting, and then targeting those people with more of a sales pitch and maybe a little bit more on the education side, depending on what type of product it is, how long they watched the video, how much engagement there actually was, and then targeting them specifically for individual products and for specific looks that they're selling. And these guys sell a number of looks. It's primarily in a demographic that is 30, 40, 50-year-old women, mostly over 40. So spokeswoman is that way. You could do the same thing with your beauty brand. The key is just don't always go for the sale. It's a hard thing to do because a lot of folks. I just came from the International Beauty Show last week. I got hard sale left and right. Like the space just in general is a little bit that way, which is fine. I have nothing against it as a former salesperson, and I still consider myself a salesperson. However, you have to really follow human nature. And human nature is you educate me, inform me, entertain me, grab my attention, and then sell me. And this is such a beautiful way in which to do that. I should also say that these guys did quite a bit of lead gen campaigns. And I think this is one of the areas that is underutilized. Lauren and I talk about this all the time on Perpetual Traffic, is lead gen campaigns for e-commerce. We'll show this. I'll show one of the ads here and the landing page in just a second here. It's going to be blurred out, and so don't get frustrated. But the point is that when you actually have someone on your site, and if they are exiting, there is an exit pop that you can actually use, which we use a lot of our e-commerce brands, is that if they are bouncing off the site, offer them a coupon code in exchange for their email. Offer them some kind of value add. We also do lead gen for e-commerce. We use the purchase conversion campaigns with lead gen ads as well. as a supplement to this. So you're building your list, your engagement list, and then you're using your email, and you're getting those lists as custom audiences that you can then target with more specific product-based ads. So a lot going on here, but the big thing is engage first. And while you're engaging and entertaining, you can sell. And it's one of the keys to success here. All right, so let's get into the after the click component of this. And this is one of the things that when I was actually running ads on this account way back when, this was the area that I really felt that we could make the biggest inroads to enhance new average order value. Once again, there's 3 ways to grow a business. Get new customers, get them to buy more when they come, get them to buy more frequently. This is number 2. After the click is super important here. Let me show you exactly what we did here. So what we did is we did conversion optimized landing pages that had all of the products. Like you've got a video that is talking about a look and a bunch of products. Let's say a handful of products, a basket of products, like 5 products in most cases, maybe 6, maybe 7 in some cases. And then the page that you send them to, we used to do this with collection ads. This is sort of a nice little hack you can do. You can actually create a collection ad and have all the products sort of underneath the video in the news feed. We were doing that for quite some time. And our media buyer was really good at controlling the supply chain, knowing what was in stock, what was out of stock, managing the feed, the product feed on the platform itself. However, we really were able to remedy this issue by converting them over to the Shopify platform and then create landing pages that have all the products individually on there. Now, one of the things you might say is, well, if you're selling all 5 products, why don't you just have one page with all 5 products they can buy with one click? Each individual product, as you know, in the beauty and wellness space is based upon, color, shading, magnitude of the point for an eyeliner. Like there's so many different, like the brush length for mascara. There's a lot of variables here, and it depends on the individual person. So you can't necessarily put it all together on one. You might be able to do it if you get very, very demographic specific, but in most cases, it's more of a personal preference. So you do have to click on each individual product to buy it. The beauty is that on the page itself has the same video that's being shown in the news feed. So in case they didn't watch it all the way, or if when you click on a video and then you click on the link in your newsfeed, it will then populate the page underneath the video. So you can actually have the video still being shown, and then the individual can then scroll through and click to individual products. So we list all the products on those pages, and that was super, super important. So these are very, very conversion optimized product pages, which I'm going to show you in just a second here. And it sort of shows you exactly what it's all about. So on the conversion optimized product pages, you've got a detailed product description. And this is probably a good time to maybe show that page, but I'm going to show it in just a second here. But we also do the step-by-step instructions. We reiterate everything that they're actually watching in the video. And they have a curated section with testimonials, multiple before and after images done in a meta-friendly way. And as a result of that, these pages have been optimized and just really just CRO'd to death, to the point now where they're just increasing average order value, as you can see in some of the stats that we just talked about on the earlier part of the show. So you can combine this with email marketing, obviously, and when they actually do land on the site, like I said before, if they don't opt in, there is actually a section on the page for a beauty secrets lead magnet. Not a lot of people do this. They say, well, just send them to the product page and don't give them any other option. Well, not all people are going to buy when they land on that page. And once again, this is a page with multiple products. And then way down at the bottom, there is an opt-in box for these particular beauty secrets that are very much in brand and in alignment with the overall goal of the organization, which is, they have a much higher purpose than just selling beauty products. It's self-esteem for women. It's just a great vision for the organization, especially through the founder and the co-founder. And if you have something that's very much in alignment with your vision as an organization, as a lead magnet, beauty secrets, testimonials, tutorials, all of that sort of stuff is included in on that email sequence. It's a very, very effective way to engage new potential clients of yours or customers of yours to ultimately buy, and then using email and SMS to prompt them back to the individual products that they've shown interest in. Of course, anyone who lands on a landing page will then do DPA retargeting. Dynamic product ads are just sort of a cornerstone of any e-commerce business, and that obviously adds in more. We didn't really even talk about it that much here on the traffic side, but obviously retargeting, anybody who hits the page is automatically going to be retargeted with a dynamic product ad that has those 5 products and or related products based upon which product they clicked on, which product page they went to. And especially on Meta, dynamic product ads are absolutely just a killer addition. We don't really even talk about it here too much in the case study. Last but not least, offer an irresistible offer once you get to the page itself. People are going to bounce unless you give them an irresistible way to buy. This has not been split tested. Okay. I would highly recommend that you split test this, because this is really key, is that in their case, they used a buy 3 and get 20% off. Buy 3 products, get 20% off. You can do buy 3 products, have it, look through your Shopify backend, see where people are, or what your average order value is, and then add products that are just slightly higher of that average order value and see if you can actually increase your new AOV or your NAOV with special incentives. Maybe your average order value is $100. Maybe start adding, hey, spend $125 and get 20% off, or you get free shipping. There's a lot of different ways in which to look at that second part of how to grow your business, which is to get them to buy more once they're actually there, and also increase your conversion rates at the same time. At one point in time, they did actually have a free shipping offer on their site, and they realized it wasn't the best thing financially for them. So the buy 3, get 20% off is a better way to do it. And it's a nice incentive. A 20% incentive once you actually hit the page is really, really good. And then you can use a coupon code that they actually add in on the cart at the end. So they're doing a lot of things right here, like all the different parts. And we're really just scratching the surface on all the other things that we did in addition to the stuff that we just mentioned here on today's show. One of the most underutilized things in e-commerce that we see is always going for the sale. And I know I said this before, but I'm going to say it again because it is so vital, is have a transitional call to action. Okay, a transitional call to action. This is a word from Donald Miller at StoryBrand, which is a great book. You should read it. We'll leave links in the show notes if you want to buy it. It's one of the best books when it comes to how to sell online, and it makes sense. Everyone who comes to your site isn't necessarily ready for the primary conversion. Give them another option. Everyone says, oh, well, if you give them too many options, the confused mind says no. Well, you know what the confused mind says is if you only give them one option, then they say no. If you give them one option and maybe a secondary conversion or a transitional call to action is what it's called, meaning get 7 beauty tips to help you improve your self-esteem, they will say yes more often. They might not say yes right now to your primary conversion, but they will say yes, send me more information. I'm not quite ready to buy yet. I still want to check you out, but I do want to engage with you. I'm impressed, but I'm not so impressed that I'm going to buy. So one of the more underutilized transitionary call to action or transitional call to action that I see when we do audits for e-commerce brands, especially in the beauty and wellness space. That is the case study in a nutshell. I mean, the results here are astounding. I mean, really, if you're looking at a perfect way to sell a beauty brand, or if you're an e-commerce store and you're listening to this, this formula is one I have never seen anyone else do it. And we've been doing it for years and years now with this particular client and constantly iterating it, making it even better. And you can't argue with the results, especially just in the beginning part of the year, increasing their sales by 57% year over year and increasing new customer sales year over year by 73% while maintaining really healthy MYRR of greater than 5.1 and an NMR of greater than 2.4. And we're scaling on Meta, and we're also introducing more on YouTube. So hopefully we'll have another case study for this, how we're integrating YouTube into this. We're using YouTube primarily as just a brand awareness play, lower spend. Like I said, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per month on Meta, not quite as much on YouTube because we're still sort of slowly working our way in it. We did do a TikTok campaign for them quite some time ago and didn't really resonate quite as well. We sort of went back to Meta. And what we're really doing here is we're expanding out the market for them with new content constantly, new looks, new products. And obviously they introduced their own beauty line just within the last year, which is tremendous. So just a great overall case study here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, gotten a lot from it. And of course, if you're a beauty and wellness brand and you want this done for you and you want the same types of results, obviously there's no guarantees in life, but there is a lot here to sort of latch onto. If you want us to do it for you, we will certainly be more than happy to talk to you over at tier11.com. So I'm going to leave all the links that I mentioned here on the show notes, a couple of new videos that we've done, which talk specifically about NCAC, the 3 ways in which to grow your business, which you mentioned here multiple times here. Obviously, NAOV, the MPIs. If you haven't gotten your MPI download or your NCAC calculator, how to calculate your own new customer acquisition costs, get that over at tier11.com/NCAC. Like I said, we'll leave all the links for all the resources that we mentioned here on today's show over at perpetualtraffic.com. So I'd be really interested to see what you think about today's episode. Leave links on our YouTube videos. We respond to those as well as over on Spotify. And of course, wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a rating and a review. We would love to get more of those. It allows us to reach more marketers just like yourselves, directors of marketing, VPs of marketing, people who are doing this kind of stuff day in and day out in order to do it the right way. And hopefully today's example, you'll agree with me, is the right way to do things while also achieving the vision of the organization, which is one of the most important things that we try to do here at Tier 11. So hopefully you enjoyed today's show. On behalf of my amazing co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo, until next show, see ya.